Hey there everyone, welcome back to another Ark Survival Ascended video. I'm Captain Beefy, this is the Game Vault, and we're going to talk about my worst received video to date. I put this out a few days ago. It was called Ark Survival Ascended Latest Patch Notes and Worst Game Release Ever? Question mark. Anyway, we're going to go through some of the comments there and talk about it and maybe clear things up a little bit. So let's cue up the music and we'll get right to it. All right, first off, I'm going to go ahead and link that original video down below in the description so you can go there, watch it yourself, and see what a terrible, awful video it is and what a whiny baby I am in that video. No, but in all seriousness, my criticisms of the release were not based off of the actual gameplay itself. I understand it's early access and all that. I understand that you know, it takes time releasing a game like this to get the servers functioning properly, and you know, there's a lot of moving parts in a big game like this, and I get all that. That's not what I was talking about there. What I was really addressing was the fact that when the game was originally announced, it was going to be free. It was going to be a free upgrade for anyone who had the old games, you know, all the expansions and all that. Then they changed that and bundled it with Ark 2 for Xbox, and I think it was just the upgraded one for PlayStation. And oh god, what else was there? Then they changed the price and they made it like the DLCs are going to cost more, and they finally settled on something. I think it's roughly around $40 in the early access for the game and all of the current existing expansions that have come out, both official and unofficial ones. And by unofficial, I mean stuff like Ragnarok and Fjordur and so forth and so on. So, you know, that changed quite a bit, which was a lot of misdirection there. And, you know, I don't know, you know, if you hadn't told me it was going to be free in the beginning, that wouldn't have been an issue, you know. I would have been willing to pay money anyway, and I still am. I'm going to pay the money to do it. It looks like it's going to be a good enough game, and it's going to have plenty of value in there for 40 bucks. That'll keep me playing for years. So I'm not worried about that. That's not the issue. It's just the issue of, like, you know, going back and forth with that pricing and all that. I know that really put the community in a tizzy. And then there was the whole promise of getting it released on all platforms at the same time. This has been a long, ongoing problem with wildcard releases. They always come out on Steam earlier than they do for console. Console is usually lagging a week or so behind. And I get that. You know, there are different certification processes for Microsoft and Sony. And I understand Sony is especially a pain in the ass about it because of mods, you know, and I'm a PlayStation player, so, you know, I'm on the shortest end of this stick here, where it's going to be the end of November instead of the middle of November like Xbox, and of course the end of October like it was for Steam. So, you know, I get it. It may not all be on Studio Wildcard, but, you know, don't say these things if, you know, they're not going to come to pass. It's kind of annoying, you know. Be honest, be forthright, be like, all right, well, we're not sure, but this is, you know, what we're aiming for, yada, yada, yada. I get it. It's cool. And last but not least is the whole Nitrado deal in the beginning, the whole exclusivity deal, and how they, in the beginning, you couldn't host your own servers, and, you know, there's a whole issue with that where you would have to rent from Nitrado. You couldn't host your own on your own hardware. That was another sticking point with me in the beginning, and that was a sticking point with a lot of people. A lot of people were really, really upset with that. It doesn't impact me personally. I've used Nitrado in the past. While I've had minor issues with them, for the most part, it's been smooth sailing with them. I've used them for years for Ark Survival Evolved. I understand they're not the greatest company out there, but it worked for me, you know, and I use a program called Beacon to help me with my server, to help me manage it and all that, which made it even easier to deal with. So, you know, it's cool. Those were the things I was talking about there, and you know, the comments I got were hilarious. I mean, the video's right now sitting at what, 37% with 17 dislikes and 10 likes. You know, I caught a lot of heat on this one, but let's read through some of the comments. And in reading through these comments, really, you know, it's funny. I don't take things personally. I really don't care. Random people on the internet are, you know, they're going to be them. You know, it's cool. So I'm doing these kind of in the order that they show up on the comment page here. But the one at the top is 10-Pound Burrito talking about how it's not even close to the worst release. And this is a great example of a comment, by the way, because I wanted to create conversation here, you know? I was like, could this be the worst release of all time? And I think I even mentioned in the video other games I'd been a part of at release time that were total messes, like Cyberpunk, I believe I mentioned by name, as well as Fallout 76. So there's been a ton of them. And, you know, this year alone has had a buttload of garbage come out, garbage releases, so it is what it is. But in any case, 10-Pound Burrito says, not even close to the worst release. Anyone remember the launch of little games like Cyberpunk or No Man's Sky? And again, I'm a big No Man's Sky fan. I wasn't there for the launch, but oh man, I heard how that went down. It was just awful. Those weren't even early access. So, you know, and then he goes on to talk about how his computer's a few years old, and most of the worst launch videos ever seem to be a mix of people just heaping criticism on it because they're mad at Studio Wildcard rather than the game itself for their business choices, or trying to play it on 4K with epic graphics on a computer like his, or even older, that don't meet the current basic requirements, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, great conversation here. I appreciate comments like that. Keep them coming down below. And again, I wasn't complaining about those type of things, and this wasn't a hate video. I love Ark. I'm a big fan. I've always been a big fan since I first started playing it. I think it was 2017, and it's just been a blast the whole time. So let's look at the next one here. Natsur Dragneel 7083. Honestly, I have to disagree with it being the worst release. One, you have Atlas, and did you play the Payday launch week at all? You actually couldn't even get lobbies to play because of their servers were worse off, mainly to having an offline mode option, which is why I say it was worse, but at least people can get on ASA. And yeah, that's true. I've heard a lot of bad stuff about Atlas, and ironically, this isn't the last time we're going to hear Atlas mentioned, and it is another wild card game there. But yeah, a lot of people were talking about that. And in the end, he sums it up at the end here of our little conversation, where, you know, I say I'm guilty of buying $70 for a game that I know is not finished. We all are. If you're one of those people out there, well, don't buy it at launch date. It happens, dude. You're not going to stop people. Guys like me, I want the game. I want to get into it. I understand there's a risk involved. I'm willing to put my $70 down gambling on that risk. But in any case, yeah, he wraps it up with, honestly, I'm sure we're all guilty of that. Growing up with certain developers and companies making some polished, finished games because of the time. At the time, they weren't able to push patches out after the game was already sold, so they have to release it in a finished state. And there's just kind of that expectation that all these developers used to make these games, and they were good, so that this game's going to be well off, and we forget that games aren't released finished anymore no matter who made it. And, you know, he's right about that. With the ability to patch games, even day one patches, it has made the industry, I believe, a little bit on the lazy side with things as far as getting games out there complete. You know, it's like, all right, well, let's just get it out there. Let's start making money. Let's start bringing some money in, and then we'll start patching. And right or wrong, that's the way the industry works these days. And I don't see it changing anytime soon, to be honest with you. I think that's just the way gaming is, and that's the way it's going to be for now. Feed Me Pure One. This has been one of the best launches ever for a game. Imagine trying to play Diablo 3 on release back when it took us like 3 to 4 days of downloading, only for the game to fail and have to be downloaded again 2 to 3 times. It took me 14 days to get to log in. The only bad thing has been Nitrado being a crap server host, and I effing hate their UI. Yeah, Diablo. That was a nightmare. I didn't play Diablo 3 at launch, but I played Diablo 2 at launch. I played Diablo 4 at launch. I heard 3 was an utter mess. So it's kind of cool to hear some of these other worst release comments here. Not even close to the worst launch. Take a look at Atlas, for example. Wildcard moment. Yeah, there's the second one. Thank you, Victor B. Second mention of Atlas. Brutal, brutal. And so here is Clades Runel, whatever the name is. I don't know. Bro thinks this game is working perfectly. Bro thinks the game working perfectly in single player with some crashes makes it a bad launch. LOL. So this guy obviously didn't watch the video if that's his comment, you know. If you're going to make a comment, bro, watch the video. Don't be a dummy. Next one up, we've got Cortez Zero. I agree it was bad, but nowhere near the worst. Not even the worst of the year. I asked, what's your worst of 2023? And he says Redfall. Wow, what a nightmare Redfall was. I'm not an Xbox player, but man, that was a mess. I don't think they ever fixed the game either. I think it was a total mess. And, I had to even go mention Forspoken. I remember Forspoken came out, I think it was in January of this year for PlayStation. And that was another abysmal launch. It wasn't that... I don't think the game had such an abysmal launch. It was just an abysmal game. But, yeah, terrible, terrible. A lot of stinkers in 2023, that's for sure. And we got a couple more here. Mentioning other games that have been bad launches. Calm down. Modern Warfare 3 campaign is much worse. And I'm enjoying the game. The worst release ever is Mass Effect Andromeda. A couple more honorable mentions, I guess, for bad game releases. And here we have Clevane RS. Launch has been great for early access. You're trying to get some of those hate views to build up your channel. So this guy obviously didn't watch the video either. Watch the video, man. Don't be a dummy. I'm not going for hate clicks. I was asking a question, gotten some good conversations with people about bad game releases and all that, and it was quite entertaining. Just coming by to drop a dislike and a snarky comment. Whatever, dude. And Tame Man. I agree it's the worst game release of all time except Atlas, which is also made by Wildcard. That's 3 mentions of Atlas so far. And then we move on to Studio Wildy. LOL. I'm having fun. Sounds like a you problem. Well, thanks for your great input, buddy. And yeah, last but not least, yeah, there's the stats right now. So at the time I made this video, a little over 1,000 views, 57 comments. A lot of comments. 37% like to dislike ratio. Absolute worst video to date. But I just wanted to make a response for it, I'm not a hater. I don't go out there and make these hate videos and stuff like that. That's not what I'm about. I try to stay real positive, especially about a game I love like this. I want ASA to succeed and to rock out. I plan on doing a ton of content for it when it comes out. Yeah, I'm upset at the way we've got shafted with PlayStation as far as the release dates go. And I'm not putting that blame, and I never have, solely on Wildcard. I believe Sony is probably the biggest issue in this situation because of their strict rules regarding mods and getting certification and all that for games. So, in any case, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, what you think. You think my takes are bad on it? Well, tell me why. Be curious to hear about it. In any case, don't forget to leave a like on the video, or dislike if you hate it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, peace.